Okay, let's move on. Now we have a coordinate geometry question. So coordinate geometry. Coordinate geometry can be a set 2 coordinate geometry, can be a set 3 coordinate geometry, depending on whether they got asked you to find distance or not. If they never ask you to find distance, up to here is a set 2 coordinate geometry. Show that the equation of line P is 9y plus 2x equals to 55. Okay, to find the equation of any straight line, you need gradient plus 1 point or you need 2 points. From 2 points, you can find gradient. And then from once you have the gradient, you can let y equals to mx plus c because that's the general equation of any straight line. And then from there, you can go and sub in 1 point to find your y-intercept. In this case, you are only given 1 point, which is why they have to give you the gradient. So the alternative, instead of giving you 2 points, is to give you 1 point plus 1 gradient. All right, so that is exactly what is given in this question. So let the equation of line P be y equals to mx, your m is negative 2r9 here because they tell you that's a gradient. From here, you can sub the coordinate that it passes through, which is 5, 5. So 5 equals to negative 2 over 9 times 5 plus c. And therefore, your y-intercept c is equal to 55 out of 9. Therefore, equation of line P is y equals to negative 2 out of 9 x plus 55 out of 9. So this is your general y equals to mx plus c form. But that's not what the question wants you to show. The question wants you to show in a slightly different form. So you see that the gradient has a 9 and the y-intercept has a 9. So you should know that logically the thing you could do here is to multiply both sides by 9. So you will end up with 9y is equal to negative 2x plus 55. You move the 2x to the left side, you get 9y plus 2x equals to 55. Bracket, show. Okay, so they are just asking you to show the equation of the line in a different form. That's all. So you just go and find the general equation of the straight line and then from there manipulate it to get what they want you to show. Okay. Next. Line Q has the equation 3y equals to 4x minus 26. Find the coordinates of the point of intersection. So this is coordinate geometry, but this is also your simultaneous equation. What specifically? This is your graphical solution that you learn. Okay, not very commonly applied, but it's something that you did learn when you learn simultaneous equation. So if they intersect, the coordinates of the point of intersection will be when you solve the two lines simultaneously. So your first equation is 9y plus 2x equals to 55. That's your equation 1. So 3y equals to 4x minus 26 shall be your equation 2. modify equation 2. You take equation 2, you times 3, you will get 9y equals to 12x minus 78. So this is my equation 3. And then I will sub equation 3 into equation 1. Or you can do by elimination, which is to take equation 3 minus equation 1, up to you. Okay, I'll just do substitution here. So 9y is equal to 12x plus minus 78 plus 2x equals to 55. You will get 14x equals to 55 plus 78, 133, and therefore x is equal to, simplify it, 19 over 2. So once you find the value of x, sub x equals to 19 over 2 into, again, any of the equation is fine. I'll just sub it into equation 2. So 3y equals to 4 times 19 over 2 minus 26. 3y equals to 38 minus 26, which will give me 12. And therefore, y equals to 4. Therefore, the coordinate, x coordinate is 19 over 2, y coordinate is 4. Now, please make sure you present your answer in coordinate form, but obviously, because they already put the bracket for you, you should know what to do. 19 over 2, 4, 9.5, 9.5, all acceptable. All right, so this is just a 3-mark simultaneous equation question. It's a graphical understanding, but of course you solve it by substitution or elimination. Okay. Let's move on. The line P intersects the y-axis at point B, and the line Q intersects the y-axis at point C. Line Q intersects the line x equal to 5 at point D. Explain why ABCD is a trapezium and state the distance between the parallel sides. This question, I think, is the first real interesting question in this paper so far, for paper 2. Students struggle to answer this question because you struggle to visualize what the question is trying to tell you. So if you don't understand what the question is trying to tell you, you go and draw out. So that is what you should always do. Go and sketch out the diagram. So we have the equation of line P just now. Line P, number 1, we know passes through the coordinate A, point A. And the equation is y equals to negative 2 out of 9x plus 55 out of 9. Which means that your y-intercept for line P is 55 out of 9. 55 out of 9 in mixed number form is 6 and 1 out of 9. So that's what I'm going to write. So line P has a negative gradient, means it's downward sloping. So my line P should look something like this. It passes through the point 5, 5. So you should get something like this. Okay, so this is your point A, which is the point 5, 5. Okay, your y-intercept is at the point. It intersects the y-axis at point B. So point B will be 0, 6, and 1 out of 9. Okay, that was why I converted it to a mixed number so that I can see whether it's higher or lower than 5. That's all I wanted to see. So that is your point B. Okay. Now, line Q intersects the line x equals to 5 at point D. So now you have to draw in the line x equal to 5. And you should realize that x equal to 5 is a vertical line. And the vertical line will pass through the point A. Correct? So you can find the value of, you can find the coordinate of point D. So sub x equal to 5 into line Q. What's the equation of line Q? 3y equals to 4x minus 26. You will get 3y equals to negative 6, and therefore y equals to negative 2. Which means your coordinate of point D, negative 2, 5. So it's below the y-axis. And lastly, you need to find the y-intercept or point of line Q as well, because it intersects the y-axis at C. So sub at the y-intercept x equals to 0 into this again, you will get 3y equals to negative 26, and therefore y equals to, I will just express this as a mixed number because I need to know. So it's negative 8 and 2/3, which means that you will get something like this. So this is your point C, which is 0, negative 8 and 2/3. If you had just taken the information that is given to you and drawn out and sketch out a diagram, this is what you will get. Okay? So explain why it is a trapezium. So it's trapezium because got parallel sides, right? That is the definition of a trapezium. And here you should realize that this is clearly parallel to this. So the explanation goes, number 1, explain the parallel. So points B and C lie on the y-axis, which is parallel to the line x equals to 5, which points A and D lie on. Therefore, BC parallel AD, and ABCD is therefore a trapezium. So that will give you one explanation mark. Okay. The sketch carries no mark, by the way. So the explanation mark is just given that you can show that BC is parallel to AD. The second part, they ask you state the distance between the parallel sides. If you draw out the diagram, then you can find the distance directly. So the distance is 0 to 5, which is 5 units. Okay, so distance between parallel sides equals to 5 units. The distance between the parallel sides is 5 units because this is a y-axis, which means that it will be perpendicular, and this will also be perpendicular. Okay, that's the rationale. So it's actually a horizontal distance between the parallel sides. So 1 mark for basically telling me that BC, showing that BC is parallel to AD. To do that, you must give me the coordinates of point B, point C, and point D. So actually quite a lot to do for this 2 mark question, interestingly. How is this 2 marks? It's 2 marks because in terms of the number of steps, it's not a lot. If you look at working wise, what do you have only? You just find the value of, you just find basically the coordinate of the y coordinate of D, and you find the y coordinate of C. That's all you did. What? The diagram, this kind of diagram journey don't carry any mark. So in terms of actual number of working steps, you only have this 2 working steps. So it also doesn't make sense for them to give you too many marks because there are only 2 working steps. So it's kind of strange, but it's just how it is. Then if you remember, okay, you wouldn't remember, but like yesterday I was going through the AMF paper, very strange also. Some questions that are 4 marks is like 1 full page of working, and some questions that are 4 marks is 3 lines. That's life. Okay, therefore calculate the area of trapezium ABCD. So if you draw out the diagram, then it's very straightforward. To find AD and to find BC, you don't even have to go and apply any distance formula. There is no distance formula because you realize that it's a vertical distance. So you don't even need to use distance formula. And I guess if you think about it, where did the rest of the marks go? This question, part 2 is 4 marks. But if you drew out the diagram, you will know that this is definitely not worth 4 marks. Okay, so all you need to find is distance BD is equal to so your length BD is just 6 and 1 out of 9 minus negative 8 and 2 out of 3, which will give you, press your calculator. Please be careful with the negative sign and don't do weird things. So you'll just get 133 out of 9. You can leave it as 133 out of 9 because it's a working step, so it technically doesn't really matter. Or you can simplify it to a mixed number. Then you have your length AD. Sorry, it's not BD, it's BC. Then you have your length AD, which is just 5. Just realized I wrote this in reverse order. Oops. This is 5, negative 2. Okay, so your AD is just 5 minus negative 2, which will give you 7. And therefore, area of ABCD, because it's a trapezium, formula for area of trapezium is half times sum of parallel sides times perpendicular height, which is 5, as we found in the previous part. So I guess that explains where all your marks went. They give you extra marks for part 2, which obviously this is not worth 4 marks. Okay, so your area, in this case, you should leave as a mixed number. So 54 and 4 out of 9. So to compensate for how much you need to write for part 1, they give you 4 marks for part 2 like this. So I guess it's a fair exchange. Which also suggests that probably the examiners were maybe not looking at this particular way of solving part 1, I don't know. Maybe the question wanted you to find the equation of BC and find the equation of AD and then go and show that they are parallel because they have the same gradient. I'm guessing that's what the question wanted you to do. That's my suspicion. That's why part 1 is 2 marks, because all you need is to equate. All you need is to find the gradient of the 2 lines and find that they are actually parallel because they have the same gradient. Maybe that's the method that Cambridge wanted, and that's why it's 2 marks. But that will make your part 2 obviously a lot harder because you will then have to apply distance formula because you never realize that it's like that. Okay. The time now is 5:27. I'll give you all a 5-minute break. 5-minute break. So come back at 5:33, please. Come back at 5:33. Then I'll continue. I know why part C1 is 2 marks already, now that I think about it. Because part C1 doesn't need any of this at all. This is only needed for part C2. So we actually did it up there, but the examiner will still award you the marks 1. You don't need to worry. Okay? This part is actually for part C2. For C1, actually all you need to show is nothing even to do with gradient. Okay, you should recognize that because they are both vertical lines, the gradient is undefined. So all you needed to show me in part C1 is the points B and C lie on the y-axis, while the points A and D lie on the x-axis. And it's given that the points A and D lie on the x-axis, so there is nothing to show. Correct? The x-coordinate is 5, so there is actually nothing to show. And because there's nothing to show, that's why all you need to tell me is that since BC lie on the y-axis, since AD lie on the x-axis, BC will be parallel to AD. That's all. So there is nothing required, and that's why it's 2 marks. Then because of that, you can find the horizontal distance directly, which is from 0 to 5, which is 5 units, even without a diagram. Okay? So that's why the question is only worth 2 marks for part C1. You don't actually need all this. All this is actually for C2. And that's why C2 is 4 marks. But don't worry, if you did this here instead of down there, they will still award you the marks.